Training the knower mind for right concentration to be ready for Vipassana. Sit comfortably, relax and be aware of the whole body. If you feel like you're falling asleep, if you keep moving your body, or if mindfulness is absent and you feel like you can't be mindful, just be aware of this and open your eyes. If you keep your eyes closed, you might fall asleep and not be aware of anything. If you feel like you can't control your body or keep your head upright and straight, this means that you're not mindful. When you're mindful, you are aware of the whole body, how the back or neck are bent down. The mind and body are linked to each other. The mind is able to control the body's movement. It's very important for meditation to train our mind to be awakened, to see things just the way they are. When we sit and practice, we need to observe the mind, not being attached to defilements like delusion, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry. Sometimes we want to have a good meditation practice and we get angry when we fail. We may practice for hours, but because of the defilements we make no progress and there is no improvement in our mind. When you're aware that you're attached to the defilements, just be aware and open your eyes and see what's happening in the present moment. Then what is happening in the present moment will attract your mind and you will no longer be attached to the defilements. Remember that we improve our practice by decreasing our attachment to the defilements by being aware, not by the length of time we sit or how good we look when we're sitting or walking. So how will we train our mind to have mindfulness and be in the present moment more often? Whenever mindfulness arises, it is always followed by clear comprehension. Then every time the mind strays from the base, clear comprehension will bring it back to the base, and we will be in the present moment. You may make a tight fist as your base and find the base instead of attaching to some defilement or phenomenon. If you are very sleepy and unable to use your regular base, then find something else, like inhalation and exhalation or the Bud-Do mantra. Inhale Bud, exhale Do, count 1, inhale Bud, exhale Do, count 2, and keep repeating up to 500. If you lose your count, just start again at 1. Keep trying. Find a job for the mind to keep it from becoming sleepy. We have to be patient and sincere in training the mind to be wholesome and aware. Every time there is contact at one of the sense doors, check your mind to make sure it has a good quality, it is mindful, objectively observing and not attached to sensations. So contact is the best opportunity for us to train our mind, even if the contact is pleasant or unpleasant. When we sit and we experience pain, get bored, or get angry, are we aware and able to separate the mind from the feeling? Then can you see that these phenomena are arising, existing and disappearing on their own and cannot be controlled? Or are you attached to the phenomena without mindfulness and without being aware of what is happening? We have to cultivate effort and patience. The good quality of the mind is the consequence of training mindfulness. Even if we can practice deep absorption jhana, we first have to practice mindfulness simultaneously with deep absorption jhana. When we are mindful in deep absorption jhana, we're not attached to any of the jhana states. Even if the jhana states are so pleasurable, instead of becoming attached, we are just aware of the pleasurable feeling and are able to have a knower mind in the jhana state and leave the jhana state with a knower mind. There are two ways to train the mind to become a knower mind or to have right concentration. People have different characteristics and abilities. Some can sit down and focus the mind on one object for a long time until deep absorption jhana arises, the body disappears or phenomena like lights and sound arise. This is called concentration leading wisdom. And some, whose minds are always busy, can't focus on one object for a long time, but they can still train the mind with wisdom leading concentration. The path of concentration leading wisdom is suitable for people who can experience deep absorption jhana, but they first have to cultivate mindfulness, which will prevent them from wasting their time in being attached to the jhana. Starting with the first jhana, called apply thought, you're aware when you've entered the jhana without becoming attached and are focused on the meditation object. The mind is about 20% aware of the sense doors and 80% aware of the meditation object, and is aware of what is happening in the jhana. When the first jhana is fully cultivated, the mind will enter the second stage, called sustained thought, and right concentration arises with the knower mind. This is like an airplane finally taking off. The mind is able to see the meditation object and knows that rapture has arisen without becoming attached. It separates itself from the meditation object in rapture, and the knower mind has arisen. If you are unable to go deeper at this point, just stay in the jhana for a while and let the mind become stable, increasing the mind's energy and ability to objectively observe concentration. If you can go deeper, just observe the rapture disappearing and happiness arising. This means you are entering the third jhana, called happiness. At this stage, the mind is aware of the meditation object and separates itself from happiness. If you are able to go still deeper, just observe the disappearance of happiness and the arising of the fourth jhana, called one-pointedness. The mind will then be able to separate itself from the meditation object and one-pointedness. Mindfulness and clear comprehension will enable the mind to be a knower without being attached to any of the jhanas. You may remain in this jhana for a while to provide additional energy for the mind, but don't waste time in the jhana just to enjoy the concentration. Remember, our goal is to train the mind to come back to the real world and see things just the way they are. When we see that the fourth jhana is fully cultivated, we transfer from concentration to mindfulness to be in the present moment, by simply relaxing and being broadly aware of the whole body, just sitting and the mind observing. At this moment, the mind has the good quality of separating the body from the mind, or will be able to separate itself from sensations or the six sense doors. Be careful that when you switch from concentration to mindfulness, you don't rush the mind. This could cause dizziness or headache. Just take it slow and easy until the mind is aware of the whole body. When you get up from deep absorption jhana, the body and mind will come back into awareness. You will feel the pain in your back or neck, and will see the thoughts arising in the mind, just the way they are, without attachment. The mind now is of good quality and stable. Now we'll talk about the second path, wisdom leading concentration. This path is suitable for those whose mind is always busy and unable to concentrate on a meditation object continuously for a long time. Pick one of the four foundations of mindfulness as your meditation object or base. Be careful that the mind doesn't follow the two wrong paths: 1. Lost in sensual pleasure and attached to thought, and 2. Controlling the mind to stay at the base or tormenting the body and mind. When we practice, we just sit with our head and back straight while we are aware of the whole body. The critical point is to observe the mind. Whenever it strays to a sense door or becomes attached to sensation, just know it and bring it back to the base. When we try to control the mind to be at the base or over-focus at the base, we want our practice to be good, calm, tranquil, and happy. Just know when this happens and bring the mind back to the base. Practice continuously with patience, effort, and truthfulness without being attached to the result. Whatever arises, just see it as it is. Every time contact arises and the mind strays, just know it and mindfulness will arise. Then clear comprehension will see that the mind is not at the base and bring it back. One-pointed concentration will arise and perception will record this concentration in the subconscious mind. This is why each contact that causes the mind to stray is useful for us in training our mind in mindfulness and concentration. Whether the contact is pleasant or unpleasant, we can use it to train our mind in mindfulness and concentration. Don't try to control the contacts that arise. On the second path of wisdom leading concentration, we use mindfulness to be aware of the mind that strays or over-focuses and bring it back to the base. Unlike the first path, which requires a stable or strong mind which is able to separate the mind from sensation or the five hindrances, The second path has to work harder with effort, patience, and truthfulness to observe the mind that strays or overfocuses. This is due to the fact that the mind doesn't have enough energy to be stable for an extended period. By applying continuous effort and bringing the mind back to the base again and again, mindfulness will spontaneously arise. The more you observe, the more mindfulness will arise at the base, and the mind will remember the sensations and return to the base by itself. This will cause the mind to be stable and able to objectively observe at the base. The mind will then separate itself from the six sense doors and sensations. At this point, the first and second paths are equal, because both can now cultivate the knower mind, and the mind is ready for Vipassana. In order to practice Vipassana, we need to train the mind in 3 steps. Train the mind to separate from the 5 aggregates or 6 sense doors. Train the mind to see the cause and effect of the arising of phenomena or the contract that causes the mind to think. Train the mind to see the 3 marks of existence in the arising of phenomena. Practicing these 3 steps often with a stable mind objectively observing at the base, be sure that the mind is a good observer and not trying to control phenomena. If you are being a good observer, when phenomena arise you won't become attached. For example, if you become bored, lazy or sleepy or crave to quit, you'll be able to be detached from these phenomena without becoming the phenomena. Or when you're sitting and craving to move, you'll be able to watch the craving mind and see the 3 marks of existence of the craving without moving, and the craving will disappear. Or when you attend the 10-day retreat and are observing noble silence and you see your friend and want to talk to them, you just see the craving and the 3 marks of existence. When the craving follows the rule of the 3 marks of existence, then there will be no defilements to cause you to talk to your friend. At that moment you will be able to be mindful and follow noble silence without breaking the precepts. In conclusion, training the mind to be mindful and a good knower is essential in preparing for Vipassana meditation, able to see things just the way they are without attaching. Also in your daily life you will be able to apply your mindfulness and concentration to any situation. Mindfulness and concentration cause loving-kindness to arise more often and self and ego to naturally decrease, leading us to be happy with our present life in the present moment. So let's train our mind to be a knower mind moment by moment until it arises spontaneously in our daily life. I thank you very much for your attention and wish you great success in your meditation practice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Trisikkha Meditation Center, Plant City, Florida.